In today's video, find out why my on-screen display disappeared in the middle of a race weekend. This was my actual view starting a lap. That and more to come in a brand new episode of this F1 25 My Team Career Mode. The Spanish Grand Prix always is a bit of a chaotic one with the high tyre wear and strategy changes, but we go into this one with a brand new in-game rivalry with Mercedes following a Monaco Grand Prix where Mercedes took the victory. Lando Norris took revenge for what happened in Miami, where we took the win on the last lap of the Grand Prix. He came out on top this time at Monaco, whilst we had a jammed gearbox. And unfortunately, maybe got the correlation going between the one-off livery and bad juju, a curse. I really hope not, because we've got 3 other one-off liveries to come later on in this season, but we were donning the Golf livery that we unlocked for the first time in the season, but yeah, overshadowed by the jammed gearbox issues, made the car really hard to drive. Was a little bit like bumper cars out there, and I will admit, probably not my finest and cleanest driving, but you've got to understand, when you have a car that feels that horrendous, but you were leading the race at one point, it's a tough one to just accept and wave the cars by. So I did try my best to stop some cars getting past this, mainly Max Verstappen, as we got the gearbox back, at that point, but the car was still pretty awful. But we're now back in the normal aarava Porsche racing colors of the red, black, and white. And I'm hoping the return to normal colors might herald the return of some form, because the last time we were with this livery, the base livery, we won the race with Leclerc in Miami, but we have done 2 back-to-back races with Leclerc, so it's now time to swap over to Tim Tramnitz as we come into the Spanish Grand Prix. Now, it was a great time for Tramnitz at last season's Spanish Grand Prix, winning it with a 1-2 here, with Ollie Behrman as our teammate then. So hopefully the car can go well. It seemed to work really well at Catalonia last season, but of course it's a different season. We know season to season things can change with the characteristics of the car, and certainly this car has a few little gremlins inside of it that we're still trying to iron out or dealing with, and maybe we're adding to the list is gearbox problems, because that was a pretty severe jammed problem last time. Let's hope not, though, as we go into Catalonia.
Hello everyone, it is a track the drivers know oh so well. It is qualifying in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix.
I absolutely loved the Golf livery. In matte finish as well, really stood out, but there's always something about stepping back into the base livery when you do these one-off liveries. It feels, you're at home. You feel like, familiar territory, and especially with the race we had at Monaco, I'm hoping that it's going to be a better vibe here today around the Spanish Grand Prix. We have carried over a few changes though from that Golf livery, and clearly we've carried over the dodgy rear wing. We had a rear wing failure in the middle of the race as well, on top of the jammed gearbox, and we've got a rear wing failure in the middle of qualifying. No DRS for the qualifying. This is probably actually worse, in a way, than not having DRS in the race, because sometimes you can get away with, I'm not near any cars to even warrant activating DRS in the race, but in qualifying you're allowed to open it every single lap you do. And to my surprise, I thought by pitting and going through that timer you saw about fixing the drag reduction system, I thought that would mean the second lap we went out it would be fixed. But no, as you can clearly see, I've been on this second flyer and the DRS, I left the pits and it was still broken, despite us going through that time period in the garage where it was meant to, quote-unquote, fix it. So this is becoming a real frustrating problem, and it seems to be happening now at the worst possible times. Like, there is definitely no getting away now. This is just a foible with this car. I really feel like we've got that diva era of cars. Sometimes in the F1 games, we go through these seasons where, one season, for whatever reason, the coding, the car just decides to become a bit of a diva, whether it's the way it drives mid-corner, the power delivery. Remember F1, 22, we had constant engine failures. God forbid that happens to us here in this season. Thankfully not, but we're just getting chronic rear wing issues. And it's come, in Q1, it obviously didn't hurt us because we're through into Q2, but, one time that will hurt us. But, we're finishing starting our first lap here in Q2, I'm just making sure the rear flap opens and closes. You know, you got to test these things out and make sure, you know, the systems work. I don't even know what's breaking to make it not work. Is it the electronics? Is it like a rusty hinge on the rear wing? You know, has John back in the garage not done his work properly at lubricating the hinges of the I don't know what makes it break every time, but yeah, annoyingly, we only had one set of soft tires for Q2. Because I had to burn another set of fresh softs in Q1 to go again, because I thought, you know, oh, the DRS will be fixed, we'll go for a second lap. It wasn't fixed, so it didn't matter. So I've had to go to a scrub set. This is the first set of tyres I used in Q1. This is that same set now, and we're going to have to try and make do. And to be fair, we did attack the first sector with some vim to gain a bit of time, go purple, but by the end of it, we only gained like 0.04 of a second on that second lap, but thankfully that's enough to get through into the top 10 shootout. And to my surprise, it's Liam Lawson topping the session. Very strong showing for Honda, with both through into the top 10 shootout. Both Red Bulls of Oscar Piastri and Gasly. Surprisingly, both Ferraris and neither of the Mercedes cars, having just won the last race. Both Mercedes not into the top 10, just showing how up and down and roller coaster of this season it's been, with obviously so far 5 different winners in the first 5 races. As we go into Q3.
Right, we've lost telemetry. In fact, we've lost pretty much all sensor information. It's being looked into now, so just bear with us for a few minutes if you can, please.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. 2 major problems in one single day of action for this car now. The DRS issue, the failure, and now a sensor fault taking out all the telemetry in the garage, on the pit wall, and more importantly, the on-screen sensor telemetry. I've got nothing on my screen. We've got no OSD as we go into Q3. This is my view now. This is taking it back to basic. It's just me, the car, and the track in a weird sense. I'm not going to lie. There's some sort of aura about playing the game like this where there's no on-screen display. I did feel very like it's just me in the car, we're at one, but at the same time, it's so disconcerting when you're so used to having all the data and all the telemetry there, the heads-up display, kind of not knowing, oh, how was the first sector going? Not knowing where anyone is in terms of the mini-map, or, you know, where they are in the standing right now in this session. So this is our life. This is our Q3. I feel like we've had 2 major issues. This is probably the worst one of the 2, to be honest, but I feel like the car's falling apart. Alright, we've not even got to the race. I'm very worried about the race now. Are we about to have like a DNF or something because of Tramnitz's car just disintegrating into the race tomorrow as we finish out the lap? I'd love to tell you how it's gone, but I simply can't. I've got no data or sensors to tell me how that lap went. We crossed the line. I could be last. I could be on pole. I could not tell you until we get to the end of the session. And oh, okay. I mean, it's not that bad. It could have been a lot worse. Could have been, you know, literally 9th or 10th. But I'll take 6th place. But just shows having no heads-up display did put me off a little bit. Enough to the point where I'm nearly 9/10 off Leclerc. But remember, Leclerc's AI is a 99 rated driver. He's the best driver in the game in this save of ours. So that's also probably why he's rapid. I mean, he has earned that very much so. Incredible that for him. You know, nearly just over 1.5 tenths quicker than Oscar Piastri on the front row. So Leclerc's AI putting the Monaco Grand Prix race weekend behind him then in emphatic fashion. For us, our qualifying was, you know, just berated with issues. What more is going to happen in the race? I guess we're going to find out. Let's go to the grid.
Max Verstappen's first win for Red Bull on debut here. One of the great dramatic days in Formula One after the clash on the first lap of Hamilton and Rosberg. The entire crowd at turn 7 on their feet, cheering. An extraordinary race. It's always a treat to come back here for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Lawson, Pierre Gasly and Tramnitz, Albon, Colapinto, Stroll, and Esteban Ocon. Norris, Sainz, Isaac Hadjar, and Tsunoda. Doohan, Aaron, Zay Maloney, and Nicola Solov. Pepe Marti, Crawford, Bortoletto, and Zach O'Sullivan rounds off the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Hello everyone, I'm Alex Jakes. Joining me for this one, a real authority on all things four-wheel. Naomi Schiff is alongside me. Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race. But I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
Tyre wear is going to be the big talking point in this race, and strategy as well, as a lot of us on medium tyres, Albon on the softs, which is an interesting choice there, and a few others behind us on softs. My game plan is going to be committing to the two-stop, going medium, hard, medium. But others may look to stretch into a one, going longer on the medium, or going, or coming in at the usual kind of same time as me, but then just, banking that the hards will take them all the way. And the hard tyre is a very decent tyre around here, but just knowing how the tyre wear levels have been so far in this season for us, especially with this particular car of ours, the aarava Porsche racing car, I think if we commit early enough, we'll get the benefit of having that constant undercut twice going earlier, because that's the thing with the two-stop. You have to commit. If you dawdle, you're in a weird grey zone. So that's our game plan today. I'm sure Leclerc from pole position will be trying to run away with this as we go to lights out. And we're underway for this Spanish Grand Prix. It's a good start for us, but then where do we go? We get boxed in a little bit. Verstappen on the left, Lawson in the middle, and then Albon comes through on the inside. Kamikaze dive from the Ferrari, and all of a sudden we got pushed back down to P7. It was such a good getaway, but then the long run into turn one, we kind of just got boxed in. I had nowhere to go, and we got a little bit dazed by the Ferrari coming down the inside, and obviously trying to take avoiding action. It's early doors. You can't win the race from here on lap one, so just making sure we don't have any damage. And now we go round the outside of Pierre Gasly, making a very good overtake, I must say, on the outside there. An orthodox way to make the pass. Usually you would dive down the inside, but Gasly left the door open on the outside, and we just danced our way through essentially. And now on the back of Albon on lap 3 is meanwhile ahead for P2. There's swapping going on. They're snapping up to second, Piastri down to third. Meanwhile Leclerc, he is indeed walking away with this. 2 seconds the gap as his movement going on up and down the field. The two Mercedes cars who are outside the top 10, they're making their way up, and they're showing that they just had some sort of operational issue or whatever, maybe traffic. They've got a lot more pace. This was the team that just won last episode, so they're making their way through. We did overtake Albon with ease, but just at the same way, Albon and Gasly fly by us. The DRS seemingly very, very effective here around Catalonia as we just fight back to stay ahead of Albon, as obviously Tramnitz and Albon have a little bit of beef in this universe of ours from last season, all the fighting they did, as Albon was for a time the nearest championship contender to Tramnitz in his championship winning season last time out. Is Norris now going around the outside of Albon, as surely now those softs are wearing out for the Ferrari, so it was a pretty awful decision from the Scuderia to go on the red wall. And Norris up to 7th place, Sainz 10th, so the Mercedes are coming through, and it's Piastri now in 2nd, Leclerc still in 1st, still loving life in P1 from pole position. He is looking like a man who is, well, 99 rated as we go on the outside of Pierre Gasly for the 2nd time in this race. But surprise, surprise, the Frenchman will come knocking again with DRS open, and he's through into P5. So it's tough. We're just swapping positions because the DRS is working that well. in this season, in these conditions. It's seeming a little bit more powerful than it was maybe last season, where we were able to pull away from cars once we made moves. Lap 10, we are eking away a little bit now from Gasly, as maybe he's feeling a bit of tire when you can see the mini-map.
Remember to pit this lap.
Oh, guess what? Oh, the rear wings failed again. Brilliant. I actually lost words there. I've run out of descriptions of the pain I feel every time I see this head. This is probably the most I've seen the heads-up display on the right-hand side pop up on the game ever. Like, just constant. Usually I like to keep it very minimal and it's all locked away. I don't really like to look at even the ERS modes. I just know them off muscle memory on my wheel that I'm changing through. This is the most I've seen the heads-up display on the right-hand side for some time now. And yeah, now we've come out with that early pit stop, of course, committing to the 2-stop. We're in traffic now. Now we've got to overtake these guys without any aid of DRS, which is just fabulous. But before that issue came up, I was just saying that you saw in the mini-map, the Mercedes cars were quite close to Gasly, so they're very much going to be a threat maybe in this race. They're coming back through, but so far, to my knowledge, Leclerc is dominating this race out here in the other car of ours. So maybe for the first time, is this? That Leclerc is actually showing why he's 99 rated in the game, because so far, I think you guys will agree, he's not really been showing as an AI. He's 99 rated overall, pace and performance, but I think it seems like he is now today as we make the dive on Lance Stroll. I felt like it was better to overtake him now and then try and use the new tyre grip to push away through the final corners. Even if he's got DRS, hopefully the grip I've got will help us pull along, basically. We already got O'Sullivan earlier on in the lap, and looks like I was correct because we look behind us, 6/10 the gap, and so that's enough where Stroll won't really, challenge us, even though he's going to gain there. As you saw, he was going down to 5/10 of a second, but it wasn't enough, and through the corners, we are gaining on all these guys that are yet to pit, so despite the rear wing going on the fritz, we are closing, we're making moves, and all the while, I hope the guys in the top 4 are fighting each other, at least Verstappen, Piastri, and Lawson, I think it was, wasn't it, in P2 to P4. If they're fighting each other so much, we're going to gain time on them, valuable undercut time, as we make work on doing to get up into P10 now, so into the points-paying positions, and we're now 5 laps into this stint. And only now is Colapinto coming in. Lap 17, and Leclerc comes in. So we have got a 7-second undercut. It's slow pit stop. Slow pit stop. Slow pit stop for Charles Leclerc. Oh, it's a nightmare for him in the pits. We've overtaken him. And more importantly, Piastri and Verstappen jumped him in the pit lane. So we get ahead of our teammate with the 7-lap undercut. So we're very much out of sync of everyone. We are fully committed to the 2-stop. Because we're 7 laps out, with the tyre life on the hard tyre. There's no way I can take these to the end versus these guys, because the tyre wear is going to be an absolute joke in a couple of laps' time, as it's now Piastri and Verstappen fighting each other for first place because of Leclerc's pit stop issue. We've had a few of those so far in this season. We've upgraded our pit crew as much as we can. But again, season is season. These things happen. Lap 21, though, now. Nearing the pit stop window for us. Piastri and Verstappen again going wheel to wheel. Quite literally making contact into turn 1. Piastri slow. We get a beautiful little switch from the right to the left on the outside of turn 3 to absolutely do Oscar Piastri on the outside as well. Whoa. Verstappen with a bit of tyre wear facing himself, maybe with the rear end squirming away. My rear end is squirming even more, though, as we're having to lift off through the final corner just to keep the car going, because the tyres are so second-hand as we make the overtake on Verstappen up into P1, leading this race, but it's futile. We'll be coming in on this lap for the medium tyres. I need to hope these guys fight enough where I can catch back up. And contact! Verstappen and Piastri come together. The 2 former Red Bull teammates, remember, have now come together. High tension and maybe a little bit of love lost between those two. Now in 2 different teams. Piastri leads, but with a broken front wing as we come in. Him having a broken wing and him being in first place could help us a lot because he's going to slow them down a lot in the corners as we come in now. And this feels a bit painful, to be honest. We're down to 8th. We're really far back. I don't think the tyre weight's been as high.
Attaching the left front wheel. We need to
Oh,
put that behind us
really?
now.
Pit stop issue there. So we've had a pit stop issue for Leclerc and ourselves. I was going to say, I better hope these medium tyres are absolutely electric because we've come out in 11th place, 5 seconds off Paul Aaron. The tyres need to go off the cliff at the end of this race. There's an engine failure for a Renault on the main straight. Could that give us something? Because maybe if he parks up in a precarious place, that could help us out. It is going to be a safety car that gets deployed on lap 25, and it means on lap 23, 3 laps later, we are coming in from this safety car, and we are still in P11, of course. No one else decided to bail in for a free pit stop, a second pit stop. They're all going to the end on the same set of hards, but now we are bunched up together in P11. So this is absolutely an open goal for us. To now, I say, even go for the race win. Before the safety car, I think we were maybe hoping to get back to, maybe just a top 4. But now, this will give us a chance for maybe even the race win, I think. Or at least minimum podium, let's say. But I think, you know what? Never say never in Formula 1. Let's go for it as we dive bomb Aaron to get up into 10th place. By the way, the Williams guys recovering well. They were down and out, weren't they? Out of Q1 or low in Q2. And so they've made a good recovery in race pace terms to get up into the points. But now we're going to ruin the party. Big dive bomb on 1 and 2 cars. But Tsunoda comes through, to my surprise, to be side by side with us. He actually undercut us there as we took Colapinto wide. Sorry to Franco there, just a huge dive bomb because I'm so desperate to get these moves done, because any time I lose is time I may not get then to have a go for the race win, as we now overtake Gasly for what seems like the 5th time in this race, as Carlos Sainz gets up into 2nd place. The Mercedes, he was outside the top 10, remember, at the start of the race, and now, thanks to the safety car, the home favourite, Sainz, might be in a chance for a solid 2nd place. But look at this, Leclerc, all these guys on the same worn hard tyres, but Leclerc has made the difference. What a safety car restart for him. 1.6 seconds up the road. That's a very Verstappen-esque sort of safety car restart where he's completely caught Sainz napping. And to be fair, Sainz and Verstappen were fighting so much, so that probably helped him out, as we made quick work of Lando Norris and quick work of Liam Lawson now on lap 30 to get up into P5. So this is kind of where I was going to be aiming for without the safety car. Maybe just getting onto the back of Oscar Piastri here to break in to the top 4, because before that we were basically going to be in no man's land in like P6, P7, fighting probably, well, Gasly, the man we overtook earlier. But now we have a chance to not only break into fully the top 4, maybe the podium, as we pull out to the left-hand side and overtake Piastri. Meanwhile, Sainz and Verstappen, they're fighting, but we can knock on the door for 3rd and for 2nd. But is there time to then even go chase after Leclerc? Because remember, his tyres, he's been on them since lap 17. I put these on lap 20, was it 23, 22? But a safety car aiding, a few slow laps have helped us eke out the medium so they can be even fresher by the end of the race. But first, I need to get past Verstappen and Sainz ASAP here. The McLaren is probably going to put up a fight, but we've got good speed through here. The inside's been really good for us. Big dive once again. I wonder, I have a bad feeling that that's one of the corners where maybe the AI are a bit slow now into it, maybe after the patch, as we overtake Sainz. This is a fair play overtake with DRS though, as our car, well, every car's been very good with DRS, so that was a pretty easy move. But now onto the last lap. We've got, much newer, fresher mediums than Leclerc's old hards. But is there enough time? Is there enough, kilometers on the track for me to gain? As we get into the last sector, only now have I got into DRS of Leclerc. I didn't have it going on to the last lap. And so this is deja vu from last season. So close, yet so far. But this time, we're the one driving as Tramnit. We watched Tramnit be the car ahead in the season before in this very position, watching him cross the line. This time it's Leclerc's turn. And that is Charles Leclerc becoming the first repeat winner of the season. Who would have thought that he would be the first repeat winner? And let alone, it's a 1-2 for us. Insane.
The man from Monaco will win again. Charles Leclerc takes the checkered flag.
And they led every single lap of the race. It was a light-to-flag victory, and that is total dominance.
After all the issues we had in qualifying, you know, the DRS failure, sensory failure, the DRS issue again earlier on in the race, which did fix itself, by the way, you would have noticed. I could not have imagined we would get a 1-2 here. And to be fair, even outside of us getting up to second, Leclerc looked comfortable all race long. That was definitely the first time he has looked like a 99 rated driver, which is kind of scary because he was untouched for most of that race, barring the pit stop issue he had that put him behind a bit. And clearly he got back into first then, and we didn't even see it. So that's a bit scary. If that's the real 99 rated Leclerc, we've got maybe issues to come every time we drive as Tramnit in terms of, from his perspective, fighting his teammate. But guys, if you have enjoyed this one, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.